Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph with Epstein? Come on.
Senator Sheldon Whitehouse asked Attorney General Pam Bondi one simple question, 7 different ways. What happened to the $50,000 in cash the FBI gave Tom Homan in a paper bag? Did he keep it? Did he return it? Did he pay taxes on it? She refused to answer every single time. Instead, she attacked Whitehouse's wife, accused him of taking dirty money, and lectured him about slander. When asked about hundreds of suspicious activity reports on Epstein's accounts, she investigated 0 of them. Here's how accountability dies in real time. Hit that subscribe button and help us reach 100,000 subscribers.
Ms. Bondi, good morning.
Good morning.
What became of the $50,000 in cash that the FBI paid to Mr. Homan in a paper bag, evidently?
Senator, as Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche recently stated, the investigation of Mr. Homan was subjected to a full review by the FBI, agents, and DOJ prosecutors. They found no credible evidence of any wrongdoing.
And that was not my question. My question was, what became of the $50,000 in cash that the FBI delivered, evidently in a paper bag, to Mr. Homan?
Senator, I'd look at your facts.
Are you saying that they did not deliver $50,000 in cash to Mr. Homan?
Senator, as recently stated, the investigation of Mr. Homan was subjected to a full review
different question.
by the FBI agents,
That's a
by
different
Department
question.
of Justice prosecutors. They found no evidence of wrongdoing.
That's a different question. What became of the $50,000? Did the FBI get it back?
Mr. Whitehouse, Senator Whitehouse, you're welcome to talk to the FBI.
The report to you, can't you answer this question?
Senator Whitehouse, you're welcome to discuss this with Director Patel.
Did Homan keep the $50,000?
As Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche recently stated, the investigation of Mr.
Never
Homan
mind. I can see I'm not going to get a straight answer from you to a very simple
by
question.
the FBI agents and the DOJ.
Do
they
you know,
found no credible evidence of wrongdoing. You know, you're very concerned about money and people taking money, and you rail against dark money. Yet you work with dark money groups all the time, Senator Whitehouse.
Did you know whether or not in that investigation they looked at whether the 2024 $50,000 payment to Mr. Homan was declared by him on his tax returns?
Senator, I would be more concerned if I were you when you talk about corruption and money, that when you pushed for legislation that would subsidize your wife's company.
The questions here are actually pretty specific. So having you respond with completely irrelevant far-right internet talking points really is not very helpful here. I'd like, Mr. Chairman, you generally like to have us be able to get answers to know, and we'll follow up with the QFR. And to the extent Patel wants to answer, that would be great as well. What happened to the $50,000? Did Homan keep it? Did the FBI get it back? If he kept it, did he put it on his tax returns? Pretty simple questions. Homan was the same guy who said there was a deal with Eric Adams. He said, if Adams doesn't come through, I'll be back. I'll be in his office, up his butt, saying, where the hell is the agreement we came to? Which brings us to the OPR investigation of prosecutorial misconduct by Emil Bovee, because he was also involved in that transaction.
Yeah.
what became of the OPR investigation of prosecutorial misconduct by Emil Bovee?
Yeah, Senator Whitehouse, to correct you for one moment, that would be the Honorable Judge Emil J. Bovee III to you.
Not at the time of this. He was an employee of the Department of Justice. And what became of the OPR investigation?
It's all pending litigation,
misconduct?
Senator. I can't discuss pending litigation nor personnel matters.
OPR customarily publicly says when there is an investigation, and at the end of it, they provide a summary. Why can't you say whether there's an OPR investigation and whether, if it's concluded, there's a summary?
Senator, I'm not going to discuss personnel matters.
Even public ones.
Senator, I'm not going to discuss personnel matters.
So, Kash Patel told this committee that his grand jury testimony after immunization, after initially pleading the Fifth, was, and I quote, sealed by the Department of Justice. How and when and why was his testimony sealed, and by whom?
Senator, I'm not going to discuss any testimony, especially testimony that could be sealed with you.
No, the question is, was it or was it not sealed?
Senator, I'm not going to discuss that with you.
Well, he also said that he worked with the Department of Justice to have his transcript released publicly. How and when was his transcript released? Presumably, if he released it publicly, that's something you can discuss because it's public.
Well, Senator, I believe you discussed that with Director Patel.
And I'm asking you because he said the Department of Justice made this decision and you run the Department of Justice.
I would refer that to Director Patel.
Even though you run the Department of Justice and he testified that the Department of Justice released his transcript publicly.
If it is released publicly, we will get you a copy, Senator, gladly.
If being a rather important word there, when your FBI director testified that that was a fact. Treasury compiles suspicious activity reports, referred to often as SARs, that DOJ receives automatically. Hundreds related to accounts of Jeffrey Epstein. How many of those Treasury SARs did you or Director Patel investigate?
Senator, I'm not sure if you're concerned because you took money, I believe, did you, from Reid Hoffman, one of Epstein's closest confidants, not only once but twice in 2018 and 2024, if that's correct. But, Senator, did you ask Merrick Garland any of this over the last 4 years when he sat before you? This investigation has been going on. This investigation was closed. Did you ask Alex Acosta that?
And Patel came to office, you said you would look into this. There were hundreds of suspicious activity reports. Some people would deduce from the fact that they are called suspicious activity reports that there might be suspicious activity. And yet you seem to have looked at zero of those suspicious activity reports involving Jeffrey Epstein accounts. Let me ask you something else. There's been public reporting that Jeffrey Epstein showed people photos of President Trump with half-naked young women. Do you know if the FBI found those photographs in their search of Jeffrey Epstein's safe or premises or otherwise? Have you seen any such thing?
You know, Senator Whitehouse, you sit here and make salacious remarks, once again trying to slander President Trump left and right, when you're the one who was taking money from one of Epstein's closest confidants, I believe, I could be wrong, correct me, Reid Hoffman, who was with Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions. And the senator sitting right next to you tried to block the flight logs from being released. Yet you're grilling me on President Trump and some photograph with Epstein? Come on.
The question is, did the FBI find those photographs that have been discussed publicly by a witness who claimed Jeffrey Epstein showed them to him. You don't know anything about that? Okay. Here's what well, no, we cut to something else. The Marshal Service is supposed to protect our federal judges. I have asked repeatedly for the Marshal Service to let me know if they are investigating or being inhibited from investigating whether or not there is orchestration of threats against federal judges, whether under either conspiracy laws or racketeering enterprise laws or aiding and abetting laws, whatever. But as you know, there's the person who says the threat, and then there may very well be somebody orchestrating the threat behind them. Mm-hmm. Is the Marshal Service allowed to investigate orchestration of threats, and do you know if they've taken one step to do so?
May I answer the question, Chairman Grassley? The time has expired.
I think it's the convention of the committee that if I've started my question in my time, you may answer the question.
I was asking the chairman.
Okay, before I go to Cornyn.
She wants to answer the question, Chairman.
Oh, please go ahead. I thought you said you didn't want to answer it.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Sir. Thank you. Senator Whitehouse, I would be happy to sit down with you regarding any threat to any federal judge in this country. We take threats very seriously. I will set a meeting with you, with Director Serralta of the U.S. Marshals, and I will be there. And we will talk about any threats on federal judges,
including orchestration,
who threatened them or who orchestrated them.
Bingo. Thank you.
What just happened in the Senate Judiciary Committee was a masterclass in how to expose someone who has no intention of providing honest answers. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse came to the Senate Judiciary Committee with straightforward questions that demanded straightforward answers. Attorney General Pam Bondi spent the entire exchange lying and attacking him. The first question was simple. What happened to the $50,000 in cash the FBI gave Tom Homan in a paper bag? Did Homan keep it? Did the FBI get it back? If he kept it, did he declare it on his taxes? She wouldn't answer. She cited an investigation that found no wrongdoing, but that wasn't the question. She told Whitehouse to talk to Director Kash Patel. When Whitehouse pointed out the FBI reports to her, she still wouldn't answer. When pressed on the tax question, she attacked Whitehouse personally, claiming he pushed legislation to subsidize his wife's company. Whitehouse moved to an Office of Professional Responsibility investigation into prosecutorial misconduct. What became of it? Pam Bondi claimed she couldn't discuss personnel matters, even though OPR investigations are typically made public. Next, Whitehouse asked about Kash Patel's grand jury testimony. Patel claimed it was sealed by the Justice Department and then released publicly. How and when did that happen? She refused to discuss it, saying she'd get him a copy if it was released publicly, using the word if, even though Kash Patel testified it was a fact. Then came the Treasury suspicious activity reports on Jeffrey Epstein's accounts. The DOJ receives hundreds of these automatically. How many did Pam Bondi or Patel investigate? Instead of answering, she accused Whitehouse of taking money from Reid Hoffman, calling him one of Epstein's closest confidants. Whitehouse pointed out they investigated 0 of hundreds of suspicious activity reports despite promising thorough investigations. He asked if the FBI found photographs that a witness claimed Epstein showed him of Trump with half-naked young women. She accused Whitehouse of making salacious remarks to slander Trump. She never answered whether the FBI found the photos. Finally, Whitehouse asked if the Marshal Service is investigating orchestration of threats against federal judges. This was the only question offered to actually engage and schedule a meeting. On every other question about $50,000 in cash, suspicious activity reports, found photographs, sealed then unsealed testimony, she either refused to answer, deflected to someone else, or launched personal attacks. This is what oversight looks like now. Ask about evidence and get attacked about your wife. Ask about suspicious transactions and get accused of taking dirty money. The questions remain unanswered, and that might be the most revealing answer of all. You're watching Inside Politics. hit subscribe, and help us reach 100,000 subscribers and comment your thoughts.